we'll go to alkaline batteries. In lead acid battery, regular maintenance is required. To overcome this, alkaline batteries are used. These are nickel iron battery and nickel cadmium battery. Now we look into nickel iron cell. The nickel iron cell is an alkaline cell. The active materials used in nickel iron cell are the anode or the positive plate consists of NiOH4, nickel oxide, nickel hydroxide. The cathode, which is a negative plate, is made up of iron, that is powdered iron, and the electrolyte is KOH, potassium hydroxide. The chemical reactions which are undergone during charging in the nickel oxide cell are the nickel hydroxide reacts with two OH ions of the electrolyte, which is of KOH, and gives rise to NiOH4. Similarly, at cathode, the iron hydroxide, ferrous hydroxide, reacts with potassium ions and becomes Fe plus 2KOH. During discharging, at anode, the reactions taking place are NiOH4 combines with 2K ions of the electrolyte and gives rise to NiOH2 plus 2KOH. At cathode, the iron reacts with 2 OH ions of the electrolyte and gives rise to FeOH2. Now we will see what are the salient features of nickel iron cell. The average voltage of nickel iron cell is 1.2 volts. The initial resistance of the cell is nearly 5 times the resistance of lead acid cell. The plates are having good mechanical strength. The cell is lighter in weight, but its initial cost is high. It requires less quantity of electrolyte as compared to lead acid cell. It can withstand heavy charge and discharge currents. Nickel iron cell can be left in discharged condition for a longer period, which is not possible in case of a lead acid cell. But the efficiency of the cell is less, and also it requires less maintenance. Now we look into the various applications of nickel iron cell, where the nickel iron cell is majorly used. The nickel iron cell is majorly used for traction work, that is in electric trains. It is used in mine locomotives, that is in mines, the trains which are used in mines. They are also used in miners' lamps. They are also used for lighting and starting of public service vehicles. Now we will look into nickel cadmium cell. Nickel cadmium cell is another type of alkaline cell. The active materials used here are the anode or the positive plate consists of NiOH4. The negative plate or the cathode consists of cadmium. Here the electrolyte is potassium hydroxide. The electrolyte here is same as that of nickel iron cell. Now we look into the chemical reactions at anode. The reactions taking place are the NiOH2 combines with 2 OH ions of the electrolyte and gives rise to NiOH4. At cathode, the cadmium CdOH2 combines with 2 potassium ions of the electrolyte and gives rise to cadmium and potassium hydroxide Cd plus 2 KOH. During discharging, the chemical reactions taking place are: at anode, NiOH4 combines with 2 potassium ions and gives rise to NiOH2 plus 2 KOH. At cathode, the cadmium combines with 2 OH ions of the electrolyte and gives rise to CdOH2. Now we look into the various methods of charging of batteries. The charging of batteries can be carried out by constant voltage method, also by constant current method. First we look into constant voltage method of charging the batteries. In constant voltage method of charging the batteries are connected across a DC source to which a rheostat, that is the variable resistor, is connected. Here the current I is equal to V minus VB by R small r plus capital R, where I is the charging current, V is the applied voltage, VB is the battery voltage, capital R is the resistance at the rheostat, and small r is the internal resistance of the battery. So here the voltage is constant and the charging current is equal to V minus VB by small r plus capital R, that is rheostatic resistance plus internal resistance. Now we look into the advantages and the disadvantages of constant voltage method. The advantages of constant voltage method are: the battery charging is simple and safe, but the disadvantages are the initial charging current is very high initial charging current. Now we will go into the next method, that is constant current method. In constant current method, the battery is connected across a DC source. Here the current I is again equal to V minus VB by R plus R, that is the charging current is equal to the applied voltage minus battery voltage divided by the rheostatic resistance plus internal resistance. Right? Here the charging current is difference in voltages of applied voltage to the battery voltage divided by the sum of internal resistance plus rheostatic resistance. The various advantages and disadvantages of the constant current method are: the advantages are the battery charging is cheap and efficient, but the disadvantages are the constant current method is a lengthy process and hence takes more time for charging. Now we look into the various applications of secondary batteries. The secondary battery or the secondary cells are used in automobiles, railways, telephone exchanges, substations, wireless receiving sets, UPS and emergency supplies like hospitals, etc. See here, they are used in UPS, hospitals and automobiles. In this session, we have seen what are batteries, the different types of batteries, their manufacturing process and their applications. Okay students, till we meet again, goodbye.
Hello students, good morning to all of you. Today we will discuss about units of work, power and energy related to electrical engineering. We know that units are used to measure the quantities. There are various systems of units like FPS system, CGS system, MKS system and SI system. FPS means foot, pound and second system. CGS means centimeter, gram, second system. MKS means meter, kilogram, second system. SI system is International System of Units. The system of units recommended and practiced all over the world, including India, is SI system of units. SI system of units are categorized into three classes. They are fundamental units, supplementary units and derived units. Fundamental units are 7. They are length, the unit is meter, symbol M. Second, mass, unit kilogram, symbol kg. The third one is time, unit is second, symbol S. The fourth physical quantity is electric current, its unit is ampere and symbol is A. And fifth, thermodynamic temperature, its unit is Kelvin, symbol is K. The sixth quantity is luminous intensity, its unit is candela, symbol is CD. And the seventh one, amount of substance, its unit is mole, symbol MOL, mole. The supplementary units are plane angle, its unit is radian, symbol rad. And solid angle, its unit is steradian, symbol SR. And the third category of SI units is derived units. Some are force, unit Newton, work and energy, unit joule, power, its unit is watt, electrical potential, its unit is volt, electric resistance, its unit is ohm. These units are called as derived units because they can be obtained from the use of fundamental units. The above units may be called as absolute units, and there is another system of units, namely gravitational units. In this, the unit of force is kg or kgf, that means kg force. The absolute unit is equal to g into gravitational unit, where g is equal to the acceleration due to gravity. Its value is 9.8 meters per second square. Now, let us define the terms work, power and energy, and let us know their units. Let us see what is meant by work. In physics, work is said to be done on a body when a force acts on it and moves the body through some distance in the direction of force. That is, work done is equal to force into distance. That means W is equal to F into S. The SI unit for the work is Newton meter or joule. So, 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton into 1 meter. Let us define power. The rate at which work is done is called as power. That means the power is work done in unit time. Mathematically, power is equal to work done by time. The unit for power is therefore joule per second, or it is watt. So, 1 watt is 1 joule per second. Since joule is 1 Newton meter, 1 watt is equal to 1 Newton meter per second. For larger units, we use the term kilowatt and megawatt. 1 kilowatt is equal to 10 power 3, that is 1000 watts. Another unit of power generally used for machines is horsepower, that is 1 HP, 1 horsepower is equal to 75 kg meter per second. This is in terms of gravitational units. So this value becomes 75 into 9.81, where 9.81 is the acceleration due to gravity. This is used to convert the gravitational unit into absolute unit. So this becomes on multiplication as 735.5 Newton meter per second. We know that 1 Newton meter per second means it is watt. So 1 HP is 735.5 watts. Now let us find the expression for the electrical power. We know that the potential is the work done on unit charge. That is V is equal to W by Q. That is potential is equal to work done per charge. So W is equal to V into Q. This is equation 1. Now from the definition of power, power is equal to work done by time, that is W by T. So that is equal to, from equation 1 we can substitute for W as V into Q. So this becomes V into Q by T. And now from the definition of electric current, we know that electric current is equal to charge flowing per unit time, that is I is equal to Q by T. So we replace the Q by T with I. So finally the formula for power is V into I. Hence electrical power is defined as the product of potential difference and current. Unit for electrical power is watt. Hence 1 watt of electrical power may be defined as that power taken by the electric circuit when it draws a current of 1 ampere when a potential difference of 1 volt is applied across it. Using Ohm's law, that is I is equal to V by R, power is equal to V into I, that is equal to V into V by R, because I is equal to V by R. So this will become V square by R. R in terms of current and resistance, this is equal to I into IR, this becomes I square R. So power can be written in any form, like voltage into current, or voltage square by resistance, or current square into resistance. Now let us look at what is meant by energy. In our daily life, we say we need energy to do work. Similarly, in physics, energy can be defined as the ability or capacity to do work. Hence, both energy and work have same units, that is joule. So energy and work are numerically equal. Electrical power is equal to electrical work done by time. Hence, electrical energy is equal to electrical work done is equal to electrical power into time. That means E is equal to W is equal to P into time. We know that P is equal to V into I. Therefore, this is equal to V into I into T, or in terms of voltage and resistance, this becomes V square by R into T, and in terms of current and resistance, this becomes I square RT joules. The usual form used for electrical energy is I square RT joules. Though joule is the SI unit of energy of any form, electrical energy can be expressed conveniently in a practical unit, namely kilowatt hour, kWh. We may note that the energy meter in our houses records electrical energy consumption in kilowatt hours. Therefore, commercial or trade unit of electrical energy is 1 unit is equal to 1 kilowatt hour, that is equal to 1 kWh. Let us see the conversion from one unit to the other. 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1 kilowatt into 1 hour, that means 1000 watt into 3600 seconds. This becomes 36 into 10 power 5 watt seconds. Watt second means joule. So 36 into 10 power 5 joules. So instead of saying as 36 into 10 power 5 joule, we can say simply 1 kilowatt hour, which is a larger unit. For example, say an electric heater of 500 watt rating is in operation for 10 hours. As 500 watt is equal to 500 by 1000 kilowatt, that is 0.5 kilowatt. The energy consumption is equal to 0.5 kilowatt into 10 hours. This becomes 5 kilowatt hours, that means 5 units. Let us discuss another unit of energy that is used for heat energy. Heat energy is expressed in calories or kilocalories. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules. This value, that is 4.2 joules, is called as Joule's constant. Joule's constant J is equal to 4.2 joules per calorie. So 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4200 joules or 4.2 kilojoules. Let us find relation between kilocalories and 1 kilowatt hour. Earlier we have seen that 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 36 into 10 power 5 joules. Convert this as kilocalories. So to convert into kilocalories, we are dividing with 4200. So this will become 36 into 10 power 5 by 4200. That means this is equal to 860 kilocalories. So 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 860 kilocalories. That means 1 unit of electrical energy will give a heat energy of 860 kilocalories. Now let us use the units in some practical applications. We know the expression for potential energy as M into G into H, where M is the mass of the body lifted in kgs, H is the height through which the body is lifted, and G is the acceleration due to gravity, value 9.8 meter per square second. If mass M is expressed in kg per second, that means gravitational units, that kg per second will become rate of flow, then the expression mgh becomes joule per second or watt, that is, it gives power. Let us use the above formula in a problem. Let us take this problem. Problem 1. A hydroelectric power station dam has average head of 140 meters and water flows at a rate of 5 lakh kg per meter. Find the power obtained taking overall efficiency of conversion was 75%. Let us solve this problem. It is given that height of water is equal to, that is, head is equal to 140 meters and mass of water flowing per minute is equal to 5 lakh kg. Mass of water flowing per second is equal to 5 lakh by 60 kg. So work done per second is given by the formula mgh, and this is equal to 5 lakh by 60 into 9.81 into h is 140. So this will become finally 11.445 megawatts. This is the input power. As we know the definition of efficiency as percentage efficiency is equal to output by input into 100, output power will become efficiency by 100 into input. So 75 by 100 into 11.445 megawatt. So output power is 8.58375 megawatt. So this is the power obtained. Let us consider another problem. Consider this problem 2. A tank of dimension 2 meters into 1.5 meter into 1 meter at a height of 10 meter is to be filled by water with the help of an electric motor pump set in half an hour time. Determine the output capacity of the motor. Let us solve this problem. The given data is volume of the tank is equal to 2 into 1.5 into 1, that is 3 meter cube. Density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube. Height of the tank from the pump is 10 meters. Time taken is equal to 30 minutes, therefore it is 30 into 60, 1800 seconds. As we know, mass is equal to volume into density, so it becomes 1000 into 3, 3000 kg. We know the formula for work done. Work done by the pump is equal to mgh. This becomes 3000 into 9.81 into 10. So it will become 2,94,300 joules. So power output of the pump is equal to work done divided by time. So this will become, the answer is 162.62 watts. Now let us find the formula for mechanical power developed in an electric motor. Let the force F Newton acting tangentially at radius r meters. The distance travelled in one revolution is equal to 2 pi r meter, because the distance travelled in one revolution means it is the perimeter. Work done in one revolution is equal to force into distance. This becomes force into distance is 2 pi r, so Newton meters. This is reorganized as F into r into 2 pi. We know that the torque is equal to F into r Newton meters. Work done per revolution is equal to torque into 2 pi. That means F into r is replaced with T. So if speed is equal to n rpm, that is revolutions per minute, then revolutions per second will become n by 60. So work done per second will become T into 2 pi into n by 60, or 2 pi nt by 60. This work done by second, we know that it is power. Therefore, power, that is mechanical power, is equal to 2 pi nt by 60 watts. Let us see an example. Let us consider this problem. An electric motor is developing 10 HP power at a speed of 1200 rpm. Calculate the torque. Let us solve this problem. Power is equal to 10 HP. As 1 HP is 735.5 watt, so 10 HP becomes 10 into 735.5, that is 7355 watts. The formula for power, that is mechanical power, is 2 pi nt by 60. From this, the torque becomes 60 into P by 2 pi n. So substituting the values of power and speed, we get it as 60 into 7355 divided by 2 pi into 1200. So the answer becomes 58.49 Newton meters. This is the torque. So dear students, in this chapter we learnt about units of work, power and energy with an application in electrical engineering, and we solved some typical examples on practical aspects. I thank all of you.
Further clarification, contact the Additional Secretary, State Board of Technical Education and Training, 7th floor, BRKR Bhavan, Tank Bund Road, Hyderabad 500063. Fax 040 322 0546. Fax 040 322 0546.